So we want to open the floor now to comments, questions. We have a number of people that do cross-border business and others interested in doing that. So what are some of the things that are on your minds today?
Since we're going to cross portfolios,
Whether you like it
just
or not.
can't really let the opportunity pass. One of the positions of our organization has a very significant impact on transportation out here, and that has to do with a decision on the federal lands that have been set aside for potentially an airport. And Canada built a railway from one end to the other faster than we can get a decision on this,
Or
apparently.
build a subway from the end of the Spadina line
Yeah,
pond,
exactly.
and for less.
But this is a situation where it has been studied to quite an extent. There is a document that has been prepared on the positions on this land. And in the spirit of moving this process forward, taking that next step wherever it's going, is there anything that you can do to take back to your cabinet colleagues to ask them to release this report? Nobody ever seems, and this has gone from one party to another over the years. This is not with any particular political brush, but the delays on this have been nothing short of absurd. And the work has been done. We need to move this forward. We need to take those next steps so that, at the very least, from a planning perspective, when the city of Pickering's looking northward, when other people are looking at the opportunities there, when businesses are deciding whether or not to come to the area, this should be part of their decision process. So if there's anything that I could ask that you would be able to do to just take that message back to your caucus and cabinet colleagues to say, let's move this one forward. Let's release this document, this study, so at least this discussion doesn't get caught in limbo as it has for so many years.
I don't know that particular study that you're referring to. I do know that Greater
It's a
Toronto,
needs assessment.
Greater Toronto Airports Authority has produced some in the past. I had seen them, including in my previous private sector life. And the problem with all these kinds of long-term studies is they are so hypothetical, and so, you move a 1% growth line down, or 2% or up, all of a sudden you end up in a whole different world. And I remember seeing years ago a study that would have argued that right now Toronto Airport would be burst beyond capacity. You would have had to build Pickering. Obviously that hasn't happened. To move all the cargo over to Pickering was the theory. So I'm certainly happy to bring back that message to the Transport Minister and the Minister of State for Transport, and tell them there is a concern in the committee, which is quite understandable. But I think the reason there isn't certainty is because it's hard to, it's always hard to make predictions, especially about the future.
And again, I don't think anyone is, we're not looking to prejudge what this report says. But it is the next step in a process of evaluating what's going to happen with those lands. And it's really one of these things where it gets caught in limbo. This document, I am sure, is sitting on some desk in the department where it's just waiting for the time to release it for the sake of, and that's, that's
Take another variable, Buttonville Airport, always assumed to be part of the infrastructure, suddenly now that's goes, and that suddenly changes a lot of dynamics. It may look like a pretty small airport, but there are a heck of a lot of little flights going in and out of it. So I will convey that message.
Thank you.
Transport Minister.